This city was built on your patronage, your quarters in the slot machines, your dollars on the gaming tables, and your unwavering loyalty over decades. However, a shift has occurred. Las Vegas is no longer rewarding its patrons, but is instead exploiting them. Recently released figures are staggering, indicating that while visitors are spending unprecedented amounts in Las Vegas, their gambling expenditures have declined. A groundbreaking report now exposes how the city, once a symbol of lavish promises, has gradually begun to drain the finances of its visitors. To understand the full scope of this situation, it is crucial to examine the specific findings of that report, which were presented in April of 2025. During this meeting, Las Vegas tourism officials were presented with a remarkable set of data by Jeremy Aguero of Applied Analysis, the firm that monitors all financial flows in Southern Nevada, delivering news that is likely to infuriate longtime visitors. According to Aguero's report to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the average expenditure per visitor on a trip to Las Vegas in 2021 and 2024 was $1,322. This represents a 5% increase from 2023, and more significantly, this figure is 53% higher than visitor spending in 2019. While inflation may seem a plausible explanation, the details reveal a more troubling trend. Aguero's analysis detailed where these increased expenditures were allocated, citing higher room rates, resort fees, parking charges, retail purchases, and elevated food and beverage costs. Meanwhile, and this point is critically important, expenditures on gaming, sightseeing, and sports actually experienced a decrease. To reiterate, visitors are now spending 53% more per trip compared to 5 years ago, yet are gambling less. The casino's advantage is no longer confined to the gaming floor. They are securing their profits before a single bet is placed. Steve Hill, the chief executive officer of the LVCVA, informed reporters in August of 2025 that the decline in visitor numbers is concentrated among those at the lower end of the financial spectrum. In essence, high-stakes gamblers continue to arrive, while average visitors are finding the city increasingly unaffordable. Hill also acknowledged that the middle-tier market is facing significant challenges. This demographic consists of the loyal patrons who have sustained the city for decades. The situation is compounded by a decline in overall visitor numbers, even as costs for attendees rise, according to official data from the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. In June of 2025, visitor numbers fell to 3.1 million, a stark 11.3% decrease from the 3.49 million visitors recorded in June of 2024, representing a loss of nearly 400,000 individuals. During the first 6 months of 2025, overall visitation declined by 7.3% compared to 2024, resulting in over 1.1 million fewer people on the Strip. Harry Reid International Airport also reported passenger traffic was down by 6.3% in June alone. The public sentiment is clear. Consumers are expressing their dissatisfaction through their spending decisions. Hotel occupancy rates corroborate this trend, with data from May of 2025 showing a similar decline. Occupancy on the Strip decreased to 85.3% from 88.5% the year prior, while weekend occupancy rates fell from 93.4% to 89.9%. Despite an 11% increase in convention attendance, the leisure travel segment, the foundation of the city's tourism, is diminishing. The Nevada Gaming Control Board reported Strip gaming revenue fell by 3.9% in May 2025, compared to May 2024. This marked the 4th consecutive month of declining revenue. The situation in June was more severe, as downtown Las Vegas experienced an 11.3% drop in revenue, and the methods behind this financial strategy are now coming to light. The city's appeal is being systematically eroded, beginning with ancillary charges that that function as hidden taxes. The days when a quoted room rate represented the final cost are a distant memory. That era has concluded. MGM Resorts increased its resort fees twice in 2024, and premier strip properties now levy nightly fees from $45 to $52 on top of the room rate, which is before the application of the 13.38% room tax. In September of 2024, Casino.org reported that MGM had discreetly introduced a $15 nightly ICE contact center fee for reservations made by telephone. With an additional $6 in taxes, this amounts to an extra $21 for booking via phone rather than online. This practice is widespread, with Caesars, MGM, and Wynn all implementing similar charges, leaving few ways to escape resort fees. Options include achieving an elite loyalty status, a level attained by perhaps only 5% of patrons, or lodging at one of the few off-strip properties that do not charge such fees. These are no longer amenities. Complimentary Wi-Fi should be standard in 2025, as should pool access for a paying resort guest. Yet resorts impose these fees because it is legally permissible, and until recently, these charges were often concealed in the fine print. The next area of concern is the state of table games. For example, a blackjack player on the Strip in 2015 could readily find $5 and $10 tables offering favorable 3-2 payouts. Today, a 2025 survey by Vegas Advantage indicates that the minimum bet for a 3-2 blackjack game in central Las Vegas is now typically between $25 and $50. This is the case even during non-peak hours, and at busy times, the minimum often increases to $100. Finding a $5 blackjack game on the Strip today is a challenge, though one might be available at Casino Royale or Circus Circus. However, such games will almost certainly offer a 6-5 payout for a blackjack rather than the standard 3-2. This rule change increases the casino's advantage by approximately 1.39%, causing players to lose money 4 times faster. Double-deck blackjack games at premier resorts such as Bellagio, Aria, and MGM Grand now command a $100 minimum, while Fontainebleau requires $500. These were once games where a $25 player could comfortably participate. They are now reserved for high rollers. This trend extends to craps, where minimum bets on the Strip now start at $15 to $25, with a similar situation at roulette. The underlying message from the casinos is unmistakable. Small stakes bettors are no longer welcome. Slot machine players also face increased pressure. Data from the Nevada Gaming Control Board for 2024 revealed that the statewide hold percentage for slot machines rose to 7.2%. An increase from 7.16% in 2023. While this seems minor, it translates to significant revenue when $146 billion are wagered annually. The Las Vegas Strip held 8.23% from slots in 2024, higher than the state average. Downtown Las Vegas reported a startling 8.47% hold. Penny slots, the most popular machines, retain nearly 10% of all wagers, with some downtown locations holding as much as 11% from these games. This contrasts sharply with Reno, which has the most favorable slots in Nevada, where no denomination held more than 6.16%. Las Vegas appears to have abandoned competitive pricing, as visitors are a captive audience on the Strip. A 2015 industry report from Applied Analysis had warned that increasing slot machine hold percentages could negatively impact revenue, as players deplete their funds more quickly and thus gamble for shorter periods. However, casino operators disregarded this advice, and the consequence is now evident in the reduced number of players on casino floors. Another contributing factor is the decline of complimentary programs that once made patrons feel valued. While MGM Rewards introduced program changes in 2024 and 2025, the actions of Caesars Entertainment are particularly noteworthy. Amid the global health crisis, Caesars shuttered its Diamond Lounges. These lounges, later rebranded as Laurel Lounges, provided mid to high tier members with a space to relax and enjoy complimentary refreshments. As of late 2025, the majority of these lounges remain closed. The former location at the Paris resort has been converted into Vanderpump à Paris, a commercial bar by Lisa Vanderpump where patrons must pay, replacing an earned benefit with a new revenue stream. It is true that MGM now offers resort fee waivers for gold tier members and higher, but achieving gold status demands 75,000 tier credits within a single calendar year. This is equivalent to approximately $37,500, $500 in slot play, or $75,000 in table game buy-ins. This tier is unattainable for most casual visitors. While benefits like cruise offers and Marriott Bonvoy partnerships are available, they primarily cater to high-stakes players. The era when a guest could earn a complimentary buffet after 4 hours of playing quarter slots has ended. Today, a player might receive a $10 free play coupon at best. A paradoxical trend has emerged. Casino revenues are increasing despite a decline in visitor numbers. In August of 2025, Nevada casinos reported winnings of $1.36 billion from gamblers, a 4% increase over the previous year. Casinos on the Las Vegas Strip recorded a 5.6% revenue gain. This contradictory result, occurring alongside an 11% drop in visitation, is attributed to two key factors. The first being a strategic focus on high-spending players, as confirmed by Steve Hill in July 2025. Hill stated, "We are not seeing any problem at the top of the market. The drop in visitation is at the lower end of the financial spectrum." Casino consultant Oliver Lovevet was even more direct in his assessment. He noted that many resorts are now willing to operate with lower occupancy to ensure they have the right people in the building. This term implicitly excludes the loyal, long-term patrons who frequently brought guests, celebrated personal milestones, and returned consistently. The new target demographic is high net worth individuals who are expected to spend $50,000 over a weekend and not object to a $500 steak. The second reason for increased revenue is that casinos are extracting more money from remaining visitors through higher table minimums, less favorable slots, mandatory resort fees, dynamic pricing, and exorbitant costs like $20 bottles of water. This includes $8 beers at the casino bar, as every transaction is now engineered to maximize revenue. This business model is widely considered to be unsustainable. Tom Reeg, CEO of Caesars Entertainment, acknowledged during an earnings call that the Las Vegas market began to weaken in June of 2025, with a soft third quarter anticipated. Even industry executives know they have pushed too far. Patrons are voicing their discontent. In April of 2025, a post on the social media platform X gained traction with over 15,000 likes, in which the user stated, "The value proposition of Vegas has completely collapsed. Overpriced." The comment continued, stating that facilities are worn down and the experience is not fun, concluding, "There was a time when you could get great value and have a great time. Now you're just feeling ripped off." Significantly, this comment was included in an official report to the LVCVA, demonstrating that the Tourism Authority must now confront public declarations that Las Vegas no longer offers a valuable experience. Online forums such as Reddit echo these sentiments, with users on the r/Las Vegas subreddit frequently discussing the city's diminishing value. One user commented, "I still go, but only twice a year instead of the 4 or 5 trips I would take annually." The user added, "I try to limit my food costs, bring protein bars for breakfast, and eat at sandwich places for lunch and dinner. Got tired of paying $30 plus tip for cold eggs, bacon, and coffee." In another post, a user identifying as an employee of a major strip corporation wrote, "I work for one of those greedy corporations and they are ruining our city. Vice presidents and executives are rewarded with bonuses for reducing expenditures and maintaining budgets, all while inflating prices to exorbitant heights," casino consultant Oliver Lovett stated to NPR in August 2025, adding, "If you are in search of a deal, due to the transformation Las Vegas has undergone, it is no longer a destination for affordable travel." Even Jonathan Jossel, the CEO of the Downtown Plaza Hotel Casino, conceded this issue, despite attempting to maintain an optimistic outlook. Perhaps Las Vegas has lost sight of some of its core messaging, namely that it is more than just a city for major events, and that visitors can still enjoy a wonderful experience at an excellent value. However, the available data indicates the contrary, with occupancy rates, visitor numbers, and leisure expenditures all declining concurrently as complaints inundate social media. The conclusion is clear. Vegas has become too expensive for the very people who established its legacy. This is because of what has been lost. Do you recall the era when the Stardust offered a $3.99 steak special? Or when one could play $1 blackjack at the Frontier? Do you remember when casino managers recognized you by name and would provide a complimentary buffet simply for your regular patronage? Recall when the phrase, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," signified spontaneous escapades, rather than calculating if a bottle of water fits within your budget. Or when you could marry your beloved at 2 o'clock in the morning for $50 at a kitschy chapel, and later laugh about it over complimentary drinks while playing 5-cent slot machines. The Las Vegas that was cherished offered a genuine opportunity, a real chance at winning. The slot machines had payouts generous enough that leaving with a profit was a real possibility, and table minimums were low enough to allow for a full night of play on a limited bankroll. Its buffets were both legendary and economically priced. The entertainment was spectacular, and attending a show did not require one to mortgage their home. That version of Las Vegas comprehended a fundamental principle. If you provide guests with excellent treatment, they will return repeatedly. They will invite their friends. Their spending will be driven by enjoyment, not by the feeling of being charged for every minor item. Consider the Las Vegas of the Rack Pack, or even the era of mob influence. Regardless of one's opinion of those times, they understood hospitality. They knew the house would ultimately profit, so they focused on making the guest experience enjoyable. Why not allow patrons to feel they are receiving value for their expenditure? This raises the question, how did we arrive at this point? How did Las Vegas undergo such a drastic transformation? The uncomfortable reality is as follows. Las Vegas ceased to be managed by traditional casino operators and instead fell under the control of Wall Street analysts. MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, and Wynn Resorts are publicly traded corporations accountable to shareholders who insist on quarterly growth. During every earnings call, executives are required to detail their strategies for increasing revenue and profit margins. Each quarter, they must demonstrate progress. Consequently, what actions do they take? Resort to optimization and extraction tactics. Resort fees are increased incrementally by $3, then $5, and then $8. Table minimums are raised from $10 to $15, then to $25, and eventually $50. Slot machine payout percentages are reduced by 0.04%. This change is subtle enough to go unnoticed by most players, yet significant enough to contribute millions to the company's profits. They dismiss human dealers in favor of automated tables and convert complimentary lounges into restaurants that generate revenue. They have abolished free parking, a policy once considered unimaginable, and now impose daily charges ranging from $20 to $40. In February 2025, MGM CEO Bill Hornbuckle informed investors that the company's goal for the year was to secure $150 million in operational EBITDA opportunities. EBITDA stands for earnings before interest and taxes, depreciation and amortization, which is corporate terminology for extracting greater profit from an operation. On that same call, MGM CFO Jonathan Halkyard noted a reduction in full-time employees across all their regions, including Las Vegas and their corporate office, while implementing digital interfaces for customer service management. In other words, a smaller workforce leads to reduced costs and a less personal level of service. This is the outcome when financial accountants, rather than seasoned gamblers, manage casinos. However, corporate avarice is not the sole contributing factor. External pressures have hastened this decline. The number of Canadian visitors, who constitute the largest segment of international tourists in Vegas, decreased by 18% in 2024. A significant number of Canadians ceased traveling to the United States as a protest against policies and rising expenses. WestJet EasyJet, the primary airline carrier, cut its flights to Las Vegas by 15%. Throughout 2025, economic anxieties led to a drop in consumer confidence. A Deloitte survey revealed that while Americans intended to travel in 2025, they plan to do so with more limited budgets. As discretionary income diminishes, a trip to Vegas is often one of the initial expenses to be eliminated. High inflation in 2023 and 2024, combined with persistent interest rates, increased the cost of all goods and services. Not only in Las Vegas, but globally, credit card debt reached unprecedented highs, prompting individuals to prioritize debt repayment over leisure trips for gambling. Simultaneously, the competitive landscape expanded. Tribal casinos proliferated nationwide, providing many of the same gaming and entertainment choices without the need for air travel. The legalization of sports betting in numerous states means it is no longer necessary to fly to Las Vegas to place a wager. Cruise lines began offering all-inclusive packages that presented a superior value proposition compared to the incremental charges common in Vegas. Regional competitors such as Atlantic City also offered the advantage of being close to major population centers. Despite facing their own difficulties, Las Vegas failed to adapt, instead intensifying its focus on high-end luxury while forgetting the importance of attracting a large volume of visitors. They pursued high rollers, or whales, and overlooked the millions of ordinary people who were the foundation of the city's success. The core issue is this: people are no longer willing to spend money in Las Vegas because the city no longer provides value in return. The situation is both that straightforward and that tragic. Visitors are now paying 53% more per trip than they were 5 years ago, with the majority of that expenditure allocated to fees, parking, and exorbitantly priced food, rather than to gaming itself. In 2024, the average visitor spent $1,322 per trip, yet spending on gambling actually declined. This indicates it is no longer a true casino town, but rather a theme park that happens to have slot machines. The corporations managing Las Vegas have forgotten a fundamental principle: the house is guaranteed to win as long as people continue to play. However, if you make it unaffordable, extract every last dollar, and leave them feeling deceived, they will cease to visit. This is precisely the current situation. The startling report from Jeremy Aguero should have served as a critical warning. Instead, casino operators continue to increase fees and reduce slot machine payouts, thereby alienating their most loyal customers. They are now contending with double-digit decreases in visitor numbers and are questioning the cause. The cause is simple: they became excessively greedy. They betrayed the very patrons who built the city, and as a result, those patrons are now staying away. At this point, I would like to hear from you. If you are viewing this, it is likely you have a personal Las Vegas story to share. Perhaps you have been visiting since the 1980s or 1990s and have witnessed the city's transformation firsthand. It's possible you have observed the diminishing crowds and escalating costs. You may have already concluded that a visit is no longer worthwhile. I am interested in hearing your perspective. What is your Las Vegas experience? When did you first perceive the decline in value? Do you continue to visit, or have you decided against it? What changes would be necessary to entice you to return? Please share your accounts in the comments section. Let us work together to increase awareness of this issue. The more we discuss it, the more pressure will be applied to these corporations to acknowledge who truly built this city: loyal patrons such as yourselves and me. Before concluding, I have one final request. If this report has provided you with a clearer understanding of the situation in Las Vegas, or if it has affirmed sentiments you have held for years, please do me the favor of selecting the like button. Please subscribe to this channel to ensure you do not miss our future coverage of Las Vegas and the gaming industry. We will continue to investigate, reveal the truth, and champion the interests of the players who contributed to this city's greatness. Las Vegas does not have to continue on this path. Meaningful change is achievable if a sufficient number of people demand it. First, however, it is crucial to comprehend the reality of the situation. You are now aware that this critical information has been revealed. The pressing question now is, what actions will we take in response? Thank you for your time and attention. We look forward to seeing you for our next report.